Welcome to Cars You Can Fix. Today we're going to be replacing the water pump on a 2004 Chevy Tahoe. Let's get to it. It's going to be an 8mm. Put those bolts up on top for the cover. Just lift up, pull out. Now we got to get this intake off. It's an 8mm. And depending on your setup, you may have to use different size sockets to get this off. Now let's get this fan shroud off. You have 2 pins on each side. One right there in the front. And one right here. And take those out on both sides. I'm going to use my panel popper tool. They come out just like that. Now get the rest out. Now this hose has a clamp that goes into the fan shroud. Just lift up on it, pull it out, just like that. You have another little hose right here and a clip. Just go ahead and pull that out like that. And you have 2 10mm bolts. One here and one right there. Let's get those out. Now the fan shroud is loose. Let's go ahead and pull it out through the top. Here you can see where it's leaking. It's got coolant underneath there. It's all wet. It's coming right out of the bearing from the front. I'm going to use my big adjustable wrench. Put it on this fan bolt. I'm going to just knock it right off. There it is. And make sure you do this with the belt on. It puts pressure on the pulley there, so you can spin this off. And just go ahead and pull that out. Now to get the belt off, we're going to put a 15 on this tensioner pulley. And then pull it down to the right. Just go ahead and pull it from there. And let's just go ahead and get this belt out of the way. Now let's remove the tensioner. It's going to be a 15. You got 2 15mm bolts. There's actually 3 bolts. There's one more here. And pull that out. And you can see here you have 2 longer bolts and then the short bolt. Unclip this hose that's on this other clip. I use a pair of channel locks, and let's get these clamps off the hoses. Let's go ahead and work it back. And then work this hose a little bit so it breaks the bond from the thermostat. You can go ahead and work it off. This is the fun part. You may need to get like a pry tool in here too, help you get it off. You can just break it loose and then work it off. Let's go ahead and remove this top hose. There, just go ahead and pull it off. We have 6 10mm bolts that hold on the water pump. Go ahead and break those loose. Now when you take them out, what I like to do is put it in the same spot on the new water pump. So I just took this top one out, so just put it right back there. And then you know where the bolts go, and you got to put it back in. Alright, and then go ahead and just grab it, and it'll jolt free. There it goes. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and clean up these surfaces really good, both sides. Get yourself a brand new razor, and we're going to go ahead and scrape the surface. Careful not to nick it or gouge it. And then we're also going to use just a rag and some brake spray. Get those nice and clean. You want to get all the gasket material off. And continue that process for both sides. Then take a steel brush and clean up the threads on your bolts. And just give them a wipe too. And just do that to the rest of them. Now that we have the old pump out, go ahead and swap the bolts back over to the old one as your template. Now when installing these gaskets, we're going to use this Permatex gasket maker. It's a water pump and thermostat housing type. We're going to go ahead and put a thin layer on both sides of the metal gasket here. And just go ahead and put that on like that for now. And do the next one too. And now a thin layer on this side. You know, as I come in here, okay, so I put the top two bolts in first, and we're just going to thread those in. Line it up even. And then I'll just get my bottom bolts and thread those in. So now just snug them down by hand. And crisscross when you snug them down. Go one side to the other side. I'm just going to go ahead and give them just a little snug. just till it's starting to get a little bit tight. And then we're going to use the torque wrench. We're going to go ahead and set this to 11 foot-pounds. It's 11 foot-pounds the first pass, and then 22 foot-pounds the second pass. Remember to crisscross over. Let's go ahead and set it to 22 foot-pounds. And we'll do the same thing. Okay, we're all torqued down. I have a new thermostat and thermostat housing we're going to use. How this goes in, there's a little notch right on the housing. And there's a little tab on the gasket. It's where the little air bleeder valve is. Just go ahead and fit it in there. Fit it all around. And then we have a paper gasket here. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to put a little bit of that RTV silicone on both sides, the gasket maker. And then I'll put a light coat on this side too. Let's do the light coat in there. And just line it up. Just like that. Just make sure to take your bolts out of the old water pump. Make sure the surface is clean. I'll go ahead and line this up and get your bolts started in here. And then these get torqued down to 11 foot-pounds. Now get the 3 lower hoses back on. And the lower radiator hose. Now put the belt tensioner back on. Start it in by hand. I'm snap it down. Okay, got my 15 on here. We're going to go ahead and turn it down to the right. And we're going to pull the belt over this idler pulley. Since it's smooth, it makes it easier to get the belt over on it. Make sure that's on. Okay, double check we're on all the pulleys. We're looking good. Let's go ahead and get the fan on. Just line it up and start turning. There, I caught it. And we'll do the same thing how we got it off. Let's give it a couple taps. And you're on. Now we'll grab our upper radiator hose and slide that on. Hey, there it is. And release the tension. Now go ahead and put your fan shroud in. Just work it around the hoses here. Got your two 10mm. And then put your clips back in. And then put this little coolant hose back in its clips. There you go. And then this one, line that up, just push it down. And put your intake hose back in. Snug those down with the hose clamps with the number 8. Then slide your top cover back on. Snug it down. Now we're going to go ahead and add some coolant. These take Dex Cool, but this car's already got green coolant all throughout it. It's already been flushed with it. So that's what we're using here. Let's go ahead and top this off. Now that we got the coolant in the system, we're going to go ahead and turn the car on, let it get hot, warm up to temperature, let any bubbles come out, and then we're going to top this coolant tank back off again. And then after that, just check for leaks. Go ahead and check for leaks at the hoses. Looking good. Any leaks underneath? Nothing dripping. It's a good sign. And that's it. We're all done. This is Cars Can Fix. Thanks for watching.